Welcome to the Non-Sequitur Show. Continual watching beyond this point may result in terminal face palming and a complete loss of wokeness. You have been warned.
All right, welcome. It is the NonSequitur Show, and we are back today to discuss everybody's favorite topic, the state of the debate, or the flat earth debate, or the shape of the, I call it the great shape debate. That's what I'm going to call this, the great shape debate, because it's been a while since we've kind of caught up with some of the things going on in the flat earth community. We have the amazing, the wonderful, the talented, the rocket expert dude himself, Rhetoric, with us today, who's going to be talking about, some experiences they had with the... what do they call them? Spaces? Twitter Spaces? Yeah, I think they're called Twitter Spaces.
Yeah, Twitter Spaces. It's the new thing on the block, and it's one of the most dog shit platforms I've ever had the misfortune of using.
I am not a fan of it. I've tried it once or twice. Let's just dive into it. First, welcome everybody. Hopefully you can hear me, you can hear him. I do have the link to join if you want to become part of the conversation. The link is in the pin to the top. And thank you, Siggy, for gifting a bunch of memberships. Siggy is the gifting king of memberships. He just gifted 10 memberships, so if you got your name in green, congratulations. Appreciate it. And let's dive into that. So anyways, Twitter Spaces. You've been talking to flat earthers on Twitter Spaces, so why is that now the platform of choice for discussions on flat earth? I don't know. I think it's a crap platform to be doing that on, but why do they prefer it?
Oh, it's definitely going to be blowing up over the next few months, just how big Twitter Space is going to be, and for no good reason whatsoever, Steve. Let me make that clear. You are absolutely correct in saying that Twitter Spaces is the most dog shit platform, again, that I've ever had the misfortune of using. Twitter Spaces only works on mobile, and even then it sometimes doesn't work. Like, I had to downgrade my Twitter app 2 versions just so I could speak on Twitter Spaces, because if you have the most up-to-date software, it doesn't like Android phones for some reason, so you can't even talk. Even if they pass you the mic, it'll just boot you off every single time.
Yeah, I had the same problem. I tried to use it once, and I had to use like an emulator, BlueStacks, in order to figure out how to get in there, because I couldn't do it from my PC at all. I couldn't figure it out.
No, you can't. You can't, and it's like that by design. And so the only way to have a conversation within Twitter Space is to do it through a cell phone. Now, why is that the preferred platform of flat earthers? Well, that's because their Twitter profile is usually filled with a shit ton of memes that make no sense whatsoever. And as we all know, flat earth is quote unquote proved through memes. So if you're in a Twitter space, you can share your memes till the fucking cows come home, but God forbid you want to screen share something, because screen share is not allowed on that platform. Yes. And I think that's the reason flat earthers are using it.
Well, okay, so they're using it because they know if they're asked for evidence, they can't give it at the time very easily.
Correct.
Okay.
And here's the thing. If you wanted to post something in the Nest or the Jumbotron or whatever the fuck they're calling it this week, within the space itself, it appears at the very top of the window, then you actually have the option of not clicking it, because in order for it to be displayed to you, you have to make an effort to click something. If we were to screen share something, it's going to be shown to everyone, whether they fucking like it or not. They will be forced to look at the evidence that you are providing. But if I send them a video of my Atlas V launch, or if I send them video of my angular size of the sun observation or the altitude of the ISS observation, they can literally choose to not click that shit and it will not be shown to them. And so it is the perfect platform for ignoring evidence.
Yeah, I can kind of see the reasoning on that. I don't begrudge him for it, actually. Siggy had a super chat here for 666 ARS denominations, and he said, I thought those 10 memberships were going to stay in for another time, but it got the money back after last stream, so there you go, everyone. Thank you. Hail Sagan. Thank you, Siggy. Yep. Yeah, I don't know how that works. If you do a membership thing after the stream ends, I don't know if it just keeps it in the system. I guess obviously it doesn't, and because there's no one there to gift it to. I thought it would just kind of be a carryover, but it wasn't. But so anyways, if you've got a gifted membership, thank you for that, Siggy. So yeah, I happen to think you're right on that from my experience with using Twitter Spaces and being forced to use an Android emulator through BlueStacks because I just couldn't make my PC work with it because you said it doesn't work that way. I can see why dishonest atheists, different stream guys, different dishonest flat earthers would want to use something like that because you know my position. I think the vast majority of them don't care about flat Earth. They're just using it to troll people. I really still believe this.
Well, whether that's true or not, whether they're trolling, whether they're being serious, that actually doesn't matter because they don't want to see the evidence all the same. And Twitter Spaces is the perfect platform for ignoring evidence. So I tried to make Twitter Spaces work to the best of my abilities. However, one of the biggest drawbacks to this, in my opinion, is that you have to use a cell phone. So all my shit is on my desktop. All my evidence is on my desktop. All my links are on my desktop. All of it is on my desktop. I don't keep this shit on my cell phone. I have an actual computer and I would like to utilize that shit. But for some reason, well, actually, the reason's pretty obvious. I believe that flat earthers know that. Flat earthers know that we go through we go through a lot of shit to get all of the evidence, get all the details, get everything ready to rock and roll and that kind of thing. And to make us utilize a platform that prohibits desktops, that's fucked up. And so now we have to do a backlog of all the shit that we have, but but have it on our mobile phones, and then we have to, tweet it out, and then first we have to find the shit, so you have to scroll through folders on your phone. Then once you find the shit, you then have to tweet it out, and then you have to go to that tweet, and then post that particular tweet into the nest in the Twitter space that they could just ignore anyway.
It's way too much effort for so little gain.
Yes, there's no gain whatsoever. Yeah. There is no gain. And so recently, I've been going into a Twitter space that's been run by a guy by the name of Sacred. Now, the question always comes up, why, if all of this is true, that Twitter spaces are complete dog shit, why do I use them? Because unfortunately, that's where all the flat earthers are. The only way I was able to get my most recent debate with Band Notice was because it had to take place in a Twitter space. He wasn't aware that I had the ability to live stream at the same time.
You got to go there. Right. You got to go where they are, I guess, if you really want to have those conversations, because they're not willing to come over here very often. I got one or two in the live chat. I do recognize some names out there of flat earthers. But generally speaking, I think that most of them, as you said, don't want to go on to formats where they know evidence is just going to be shoved up their ass so deep that they're just going to be spewing out facts that go against what they claim. And so I get it, why they want to use a platform like that. I particularly am not fond of spaces, and you haven't seen me in them, and I didn't listen to your last discussion. I'm sorry, I should have. I know people have asked me to. Siggy for another $10 says, I think they started jumping to other platforms to hide from Reds. Well, we've all done that because you've seen what it's looked like. We've all ran fast.
It's a natural reaction.
Oh God, the adrenaline just kicks in. It's fight or flight, but also to make it harder to debate them. Almost most of them seem to use their phones to debate, so it's all the same for them, which is true, by the way, because a lot of them have difficulties figuring out how to even use something like meets. I don't know what it is. If the flat earthers are not good with technology. I have somebody in here real quick that I want to address there in a second. Michael King says £5. Sorry, I was on the fence previously. Love you folks. Thank you. What were you on the fence on, the flat earth thing? King?
I hope you weren't on the fence with the flat Earth, because that shit rides high. Before we go, I just want to address what Siggy said. By the way, Siggy, thank you so much. You the best. But to what Siggy said, yes, flat Earthers also aren't very good at using technology. They don't use desktops. They don't put quality into their work. Quality doesn't matter to them. And with a Twitter space, if it's perfect for, if all you have is a cell phone, then a Twitter space is as good as it needs to be. So using a cell phone and not putting any effort into your work, and also limiting what Globers, as they call us, can show, because all of it is saved on their desktops. Oh, it's a win-win for them. They basically have a platform where everything is to their benefit, and they have the option of ignoring whatever you post in there anyway, because they have to literally click on what you want to share in order to see the shit.
Yeah, they could actually say you're not showing any evidence. Well, yeah, no kidding. So let me ask you real quick before I get to the guy in here. Ute, Poe or not a Poe? I don't think Ute's a Poe. I think Ute actually is a flat earther. But could I be wrong on that?
If he's a Poe, he has been
dedicated.
He's been dedicated as fuck. So yeah.
I don't think he's a Poe. I think he legit actually believes it, which is kind of scary. But okay. Anyways, Mike. Mike, you there, Mike?
Yes, that'll be me.
Hey, that would be you. How are you, Mike?
I'm all right. How are you?
Good. What would you like to add? Would you like to talk about with the flat Earth here in the state of the great shape debate is what I call it.
Well, honestly, I usually hold Twitter Spaces right about now, but it's a little bit dead. But anyway, what would I add? I would honestly add that they're just not really engaging as much as they used to be. You know, they just engage them and you find them on these platforms, and I don't know if they've moved and left Twitter. Maybe they've gone into some other horrible platform. But even the ones you do find, they don't do anything. It's always memes. It's always some, they always deflect. There's no real conversation anymore.
Satire. It's all they do is parody and satire. They mock people, globe heads, things of that nature. But they've never, I think they stopped actually producing any content of real, I hate to say quality because it's not quality, but at least an attempt. It was a few years back. I think that when they did their experiments, realized the experiments demonstrated that the Earth is not flat, there was just a depth of flat Earth at that point. It was this remnants of people that decided to, I'm going to continue on, but what do they have left? Parody. So that's all I've seen from that side of the community. I know Reds is much more entrenched in it than I am, but I haven't seen any flat Earther really put out anything of any interest to go, that is interesting. Let's look at that. Let's talk about that. It's all just been mockery. That's all they have left.
It's been, to highlight that, Steve, it's been recycled garbage. That's all it's been, recycled garbage. In fact, the band Notice debate that I recently had, he was bringing up shit that was already debunked back in 2017.
Yeah, shocker. Yeah, it's all recycled, and it all comes from Jeranism and things of that nature, which I'll get to in a minute, because I want to ask Reds some names of people that I've never heard of before that came to a discussion, or a tribute, I should say, that Jeranism did, which we'll get into in a second. Siggy! I see Siggy came in. Siggy. You there, Siggy?
Hey there, can you hear me?
Yeah. Hey, welcome. Thank you for the gifting of the memberships. Very nice of you.
No problem. I didn't know I could actually do this, but I just want to say, say hi to everyone.
Yeah, you can actually do it. It works on a PC. You don't need a phone for this either. Hint, hint. Twitter.
Which is great.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't like that either. I'm so much more adroit and apt to use my computer because I want things on the fly and I know where my stuff is. I don't want to have to sit there with the phone to try to argue with somebody or to have discussion with them. Not interested.
I was going to say, Reds, remember that time that I think it was Flatsoy that got some frames out of some of your footage? Imagine trying to debate that or show that to him through your phone in a Twitter space.
Yeah, it was. I remember the 11 frames or 13 frames, whatever the fuck it is nowadays, where it was a mistake and he was sorry, and then it wasn't a mistake, so he wasn't actually sorry. He was just testing us, and then it wasn't that at all. he basically has jumped around on that ship. Basically, long story short, that motherfucker got caught. I'm sorry, the motherfucker got caught. He was trying to make my footage show something that it simply didn't.
Imagine how
Shocker.
difficult it would be to try to show that on a Twitter space.
Yeah, you couldn't. And that's the thing. So in order to, like, let's say I wanted to show a video. I wanted to show a video and I said, I want you to watch the video between this time code and this time code. Instead of being able to do it myself and screen share me sliding through the video and showing the part that I want to show, I would literally have to post a link to the video on my Twitter, then share that tweet to the space, and then tell the people to pretty please click on the bitch and scroll to the time code that I'm telling them. It's
that shit ain't happening.
It's bullshit. It's like, in order for me to screen share on here on this platform, it's a one-step process. Me sliding through, but on Twitter, you literally have to do 3 to 4 different steps, and also utilizing 2 different apps in order to make that happen. It's like now you see why they're using Twitter Spaces, because one, the globies aren't going to go through the effort of showing you this bullshit if you're, one, going to ignore it anyway, and 2, you have to jump between 2 different apps and do 4 different steps to even show the bitch in the first place.
That's why I don't bother. I don't bother where I think it's just wasting my time. That's why I don't like Pose. That's why I don't like having discussions with people that are not honest agents, that are not actually putting forth what they actually believe. It doesn't do me any good. I can't stand it. You have a more difficult position because you really don't know sometimes whether a person believes the earth is flat or not. You just have the assumption that they actually do. I don't make that assumption any longer because I've seen too many people that I believe are dishonestly, saying the earth is flat merely because they want views or whatever. You have to at least go where they're at, which is in the Twitter spaces. I'm not going to go in the Twitter spaces because I'm not interested in going to them. If they want to talk to me, they can talk to me. But the first questions I'm going to be asking them is, to make sure they do believe what they believe. Because why would you want to waste your time with somebody who doesn't have the ability to change their mind, Reg? You're not getting anywhere with that. It's just spinning your wheels. It's being sea-lined is all it is.
Well, it's also not even given the opportunity to even have a fighting chance, being that you couldn't even show your evidence in the first place. And when you do jump through all the flaming hoops, they have the option of just ignoring it.
Yeah, agreed. So let me ask you. Okay, so there's some names. Okay, first of all, Earth is Life. You familiar with that name?
I am not. No,
I am not either. So let me ask, Earth is Life. Flat Earther or non-flat Earther?
No, I'm definitely not a flat
Earther. That's always
Definitely
a good answer,
not.
by the way. That's a good answer. So how are you involved in the flat Earth discussion? I saw you in the live chat there, but
I've actually been around for like maybe 3-4 years. I hang out on Jose's a lot. When Jose does his live streams, I'm always over there. I hang out in Discord and some of the Flat Earth Discord channels. Been a fan of Red's since you debated what's his name?
Jeranism.
That's kind of what brought me into this.
Reds has
watching
fans.
that debate.
That's so cute.
And when you were debating on a non sequitur back in the day, I was watching all those, and that kind of brought me in. And ever since then, I started a YouTube channel. And yeah, I've been doing this for a while.
Well, that's cool.
If you see behind me here, this is my evidence right here from Hawaii. Those buildings. Yeah. So these buildings are clearly obstructed by water. I've filmed these a lot over in Hawaii. They were about 14 miles away. I was at about 8 or 9 feet. In front of these buildings, there's a beach, there's an island, there's trees, there's a whole bunch of stuff that you don't see. And that clearly shows that there's curvature going on. And flat earthers, whenever I show this, they get pretty triggered about it.
That's awesome.
I'm gonna show that to the outside, so the outside can see what you're talking about here. Now they can see it.
Yeah,
that's very awesome right there.
You didn't see that. Yeah, I have a bunch of videos where I filmed them over about 8 days, and yeah, it's clearly blocked by the water. There's even like a 2-mile runway that's not seen. And I always say, like, look, on the island that I don't see, there are things that are taller than me that I should see and that are closer.
And this is something I want to highlight here, Steve, because you see what he's doing right now. He's able to show his evidence and actually put some effort into the quality and how he's showing the evidence. Like, hey, look, I got the green screen set up. I can show you, you know, all the things I want to show. This is something you cannot do. I'm going to repeat that. You cannot do this shit on a Twitter space. This is why they use Twitter space, because if we actually had the, you know, option to, you know, show things in this way, I think, you know, it would go very differently. The conversation would go very differently than the way that they would want it to go.
Yeah, no, and I think you're right on that. I think they do make it by design that they go to Twitter Spaces because it makes the much difficult for someone like yourself to put forth the evidence. And more than once, when you put forth this evidence, you have to have like an understanding of the evidence. You have to like explain the reasoning for the evidence so they can even understand the evidence to a flat earther, because they're not even at that level. So just by looking at what I'm looking at for your background, Earth is Life, flat earthers still probably not going to understand anything that you have to tell them because they just don't want to. You know, and so when you put forth the evidence of, oh, I have curvature here, I can't see this, blah blah. Here's the math, which is the phobia of every flat earther. They won't. They can't do that on Spaces. So I can see why they prefer to have these discussions on Spaces, because they are being a lot more fearful to go on air to talk about these things these days. Right.
Like the thing is, like most flat earthers, all they really have to go on is what they've been told by other flat earthers. And that's kind of what I tell them a lot. Like, okay, I mean, have you gone out and made any observations? Have you made any measurements? And 99% of them haven't done anything. It's kind of just like, oh, look at this video from some flat earther from 3 years ago, or look at this black swan image. And you know, they don't ever bring anything.
Well, that's what
the black swan image. Jeez. Yeah. Exactly, 110%. Oh, I have this black swan image, even though there's so much refraction in the image that the crane looks like a retarded J.
Exactly. I have a meme that I made with, on one side it has the regular black swan image, and on the other side it has the other black swan image where everything is obstructed, and on the bottom it says, which one is more refracted? And I never get an answer for that question.
You know, it's funny that you mentioned that there's no flat earthers that go out there and do these experiments, but for years ago there was, and it's a good segue to bring up one of them. Recently, as many of you know, there has been a death in the flat earth community from somebody. His name is Bob Naval. He's from Glowbusters. Seemed like a nice guy. I really have, you know, even back then, I didn't really have any ill will toward the guy. I respected the fact that he actually went out and did some experiments. I'm not even joking. I respected that. His experiments proved that he was wrong, but at least he went out there and did that. And that and Jaren's, when he went out there and did the laser thing, that's the only two times I've seen them actually do anything. Both experiments, you know, prove they were wrong, but
there's a few. There was Ranty. When Ranty was a flat earther, he was going out all the time.
He's made a name for himself since he left Flat Earth, though. He has really become a much more popular YouTuber, believe it or not.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
There's another guy. I'm not sure if you're familiar with. His name is The Plain Truth. He had a lot of observation. He would go out all the time and over on the Chesapeake Bay, but a lot of times he only likes to film mirages. Like anytime there's a mirage, that's what he wanted to film all the time. I'm like,
Morgana, Fata Morgana, whatever it is.
Yeah, Fata Morgana, all those things. And I would always ask him, like, okay, so what happens when you see something that is obstructed when there's no mirage? And then he would go off on some tangent and just say it's some type of mirage, some type of refraction that we don't know. we don't know about it.
Perspective.
Exactly.
Yeah. And flat earthers they really like conditions that are absolutely terrible to be taking any images in. So the more refraction, the better.
Exactly.
Siggy for a super chat.
Even the soundly. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh no, I was gonna finish yours and I'll do the super chat. Go ahead, please.
Even all the soundly stuff. When you look at the Pontchartrain Bridge, which is clearly curved, they think that's. They chalk that up to refraction also. Oh, the refraction is making the bridge curve.
Yeah, see, that's why I can't take them seriously as far as them actually believing that. I think those who argue those kind of arguments, I just put most of them in the poke category. Siggy for 666 says, I'm going to go silent and keep watching over here because I need to get dinner ready. Okay, and it's almost 9:30 my end of things. Steve and Rez, love you. Hail Sagan. Hail Sagan, buddy. Yeah, we appreciate that. So Siggy's like I said, Siggy and I disagree on a lot of things, but he's been a firm supporter of this channel and my main channel, and we have a great discussions with each other. So it's
Siggy is good people.
Siggy's good people.
But going back to the Lake Pontchartrain Causeway, you know, you brought up Soundly, and I want to highlight something about that image. Is that when Soundly went out to do his observations, he was very selective about the days that he took those images. He wanted a crystal clear day, as clear as it could possibly be. And in one image that I was sharing on Twitter, you can see that the image is tack sharp. Tack sharp. Such sharpness would not be possible if there was a colossal amount of refraction in the image. So if you have refraction in the image to the point where it's going to make, I don't know, the black swan image a thing, you're going to see that there's going to be that the platforms or the object that you're taking the picture of is going to be a jumbled up mess, just like the crane that's off to the side of the platform in the black swan. That type of refraction is not seen in the Lake Pontchartrain imagery. The Lake Pontchartrain imagery, again, is tack sharp. Therefore, the atmosphere is clear, and it's perfect viewing for seeing what the actual geometry of our planet is. And it clearly shows that when the atmosphere is crystal clear and awesome and beautiful and gorgeous, and you take a picture, that bridge is going to curve, and it's going to be tack sharp while it's curving.
Right. I think the best part of that is when they used the GPS, and he drove over the bridge with the GPS thing mounted on his was that Soundly, or was that someone else that did that?
I think they worked in conjunction with Soundly.
What's his name? Yeah. Well, they drove over the bridge with the GPS mounted on his car, and I think that's probably makes it so much stronger, because I'm like, okay, now you're going to claim that it's refraction. Well, is it going to curve the GPS coordinates? Probably not.
My favorite part was when they virtually modeled the bridge over the quote unquote assumed size and shape of our Earth. And when you compare the computer renderings to what was actually observed, they match perfectly, and it's beautiful. And this is the thing, you know, getting back on topic here.
Walter Bislin, right?
Yeah, but here's the thing. You wouldn't be able to show this stuff on a Twitter space. So when I recently had my debate with Band Notice, which of course had to be on the Twitter space because that's the only fucking place he was actually going to have the fucking debate, I wanted to make sure that I wasn't going to be limited by that dog shit platform. I wanted to screen share. I wanted to show my videos. Unfortunately, the only way that I could do that was to be in the Twitter space on my phone, have my buddy 82 Productions live stream the Twitter space on his end, so I could live capture on my desktop all the evidence I wanted to go through in real time while I was speaking about it over the phone. I had to jump through so many hoops just to show a fucking video because they wanted to do it on a Twitter space. But I wasn't going to be limited by that. Like I said, I had Jared helping me. I had my phone and I had my desktop, and with everything working together, I was able to still screen share this shit. But just the amount of work that took was completely unnecessary, considering you can get into StreamYards through your cell phone.
Exactly. Yeah, Marikia said that the person who did that was the Blue Marble Science, Walter Bislin, and then Jesse Kolaski, who I know. Jesse Jesse does surveying, and he's very good. Yeah, he's very good at what he does, surveying. So if anybody wants to look at the actual data as far as surveying data, Jesse's the person to go to. Definitely.
Yeah. Not Bev.
Bev. Reds love Bev. Yeah, Bev is just dead. See, I have to think Bev is a Poe, because we had Bev on. No. Well, okay. Hear me out here. And I'm happy to be wrong, but hear me out. Bev came onto the show about a month ago, because we usually do a Flat Earth episode every month or two, just to kind of catch up with things. And Bev came on and he's talking to Reds, and he's basically saying, I'm not arguing the Earth is flat. I'm just saying it's it's not level or something. And he's using the term flat and level interchangeably, knowing full well that he's equivocating, knowing full well that he's just blowing smoke up Red's ass. But he's, like saying, well, I'm not a flat earther. And we're all like, well, yeah, you are if you're.
He doesn't like the term.
Right.
He doesn't like the term flat earther anymore. So he used to follow that term, but now he just claims that, oh, no. Level is a straight line on a horizontal
But how serious do you think he is on that? He knows he's equivocating terms, and he knows he thinks that if something is flat, it has no 3 dimensions to it. He thinks it has to be like a 2-dimensional plane. So if the Earth has any kind of hills on it or any kind of elevation, he's going to say it's not flat. That's not the connotation of the word when we say the Earth is flat.
That's when you just have to ask him. Okay, do you think the Earth is the Earth a sphere?
When he say no.
And then he'll just say, I don't know. He'll just say he doesn't know.
Yeah, he's a
he just won't answer the question now. But let me explain just how dishonest this guy is. I asked him, "Is a pizza flat?" And he said no.
Yeah.
So that is how hyper literal he's being with the word flat.
It's flat. So, it's flatbread flat.
He's basically trying to be hyper literal with the word flat so that he can say that he's not a flat earther because hills and valleys and shit.
Right. And I just find that that's why I think he's a Poe. That's why I think he's so dishonest that he there's no way he could be arguing that seriously. I really at least I hope God that may or may not exist that he's somebody who's just fucking with people to think that unless he's that dishonest. Go ahead.
We've beat up Bev so much to the point where he won't even come on any of our Discord servers anymore. Like he kind of stays in his own little world over there on the level server.
Well, you're giving him the attention he craves, though. Why would he not want to come over?
I don't know. It's just fun. Like there's a picture that he took where he's using an auto level, right? Which the auto level creates a horizontal plane, and in the distance there's I think it's Blackpool Tower.
Yeah, Blackpool.
And in this picture, you can literally tell that there's curvature because he has the auto level leveled, right? It's touching his head, but in the background, the auto level, the crosshairs are hitting well above where they should be on Blackpool Tower.
Exactly, and the best part about it is that when he was initially posting that image, he said he wanted to make it very clear that the auto level was calibrated.
Exactly. So it's calibrated, yeah.
So it's calibrated, exactly. So it's calibrated. He goes out and uses this shit, and where are the crosshairs? Oh, they're way the fuck up on Blackpool Tower.
Which would be but that'd be expected on a spherical Earth.
Yeah, exactly. But you want to know what's rather unfortunate about that image is that Bev says that there was an error in that measurement because, and I shit you not, because his kid was the one that supposedly took that image.
Again, that's why I'm thinking he's dishonest. He's just a Poe. Because, he just comes up with crap. He's got to be just screwing with people. I'm sorry. He's got to be.
He claims to be like a surveyor, but there's a lot of things in surveying
bullshit.
He has to deny.
Yeah, I call bullshit on him being a surveyor.
I always I would go in his Discord, and I would post surveying manuals that clearly say, well, after a certain distance, curvature has to be taken into account in surveying manuals.
Yeah, well,
and let me guess, he ignores those.
Isn't it the same thing when you have biologists denying evolution or geologists denying deep time? It's just incompatible. You cannot be a somebody of an educational level of like a PhD in biologist and not realize that creationism is wrong. You have to in some capacity know that it's wrong. Just like anybody who knows anything about surveying would probably see the errors that he's making, and when you point them out, you're into surveying. It says right here you have to take into account the curvature of the Earth and why and how to do it. He just has to blindly ignore them. There's no way he can even argue against that because he's just saying, oh, they're just by what? They're just wrong by fiat. What's his argument of why the surveying manual says you have to account for curvature if there's no curvature to account for? What's his reason?
Yeah.
Exactly.
And also let me go ahead and clarify something. He did blame some failure in his observation on his child. Now, whether it was the Blackpool one, I'll go ahead and admit that I don't know that for certain. So if I misspoke there or said something that was untrue, I apologize. However, that did happen in the past. He did blame a quote unquote failed observation on his child when it showed something that he didn't want to be shown. So yeah, that actually happened.
I blame everything on you. When I have something on that comes up, I'm like, you know what? Blame Reds, man.
Again, I'm serious. It actually happened. So there was an image being shown again. I'll have to find the audio clip because I think we spoke about before on a different YouTube channel. But when the image that was taken showed something that was not very good for the flat Earth, he said, "Oh well, we can't use that image because my child fucked up or something because he was the one that took it." Like, come on, Bev. I mean, have some self-respect.
I'm in school, just a modicum of self-respect, dude. Yeah,
that's a bullshit narrative. Well, everyone knows that's a bullshit narrative. Next thing you're gonna do is tell me that a pizza ain't flat, and then holy fuck, he actually did.
Yeah, well, it's like Earth's Life is mentioned. You know, Bev's not going to go into those channels where he gets his ass handed to him, though he likes the attention. No. He doesn't like it enough where he gets pointed out that he's full of shit. Then he has to go, and it's just that to me is somebody who's just fucking with people at that point. So. But I do
but he's built an entire channel around it,
right?
And he has a following of people that
so is
also
Jeranism. But Jeranism, I think he's a grifter. I don't think he believes it either.
Yeah.
But
you definitely wouldn't be able to get any flat Earth evidence out of him, considering the debate that we had on this show,
which was, by the way, probably the definitive debate of all time with flat Earth. I mean, you and Jeranism's debate showed in real time. Not only did Jeranism not know basics about physics and math, is that he was, I think, willfully coming across as an obfuscating, equivocating, and being a poet like I'd expect him to be. I don't think he
went there.
He even said there was no evidence for flat Earth. If I remember correctly, I don't remember the exact terminology he used, but he told you in no certain terms there's no model of flat Earth that works. He
said, yeah, you went. I guess you win the debate because I don't have a model that works.
Yeah.
And I brought up a quote within that same debate where Jeranism said that globe earthers would rather believe a well-crafted lie rather than the truth that has a few holes in it. And I'm like, if your truth has holes in it, then why in the fuck are you going along with it?
Yeah,
the holes are there for a reason, my guy.
Yeah, but just, it's so funny. Missing information on a subject doesn't mean that the subject's wrong. Flat Earth isn't missing information. It's just there's nothing there. It's not missing like holes. It's just nothing to even have holes in.
Well, this is why
there's no substrate there. Holes are ontologically parasitic. In other words, holes have to exist in something, right? There's nothing to exist in with the flat earthers.
Right. But they describe the model, right? They'll show, the AE map, and they'll say the sun is rotating around the equator and everything is rotating. But then when you show them, like a representation of that model, then it becomes a straw man.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you're straw manning them, even though it's their argument.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So here's my honest opinion when it comes to Jeranism. I believe that he went into this debate not to actually debate, but to preach. Because keep this in mind, Jeranism's ultimate goal is to be a flat Earth preacher. He wants to preach, and so he went to the debate to do just that. And in that respect, he knocked it out of the park. That dude was preaching up a fucking storm. Don't ask him for evidence because he doesn't have any. But when it comes to preaching, he's gonna preach like a motherfucker.
I can definitely see that 100%.
Yep.
Yeah.
And so when I look at the state that the debate is in today, it's more of the same. Because guess what? You're gonna love this. You didn't watch the debate that I had with Band Notice, but guess what he brought up as a response to all of my evidence for the round Earth. Guess what he brought up? What he thought was useful to debunking my model.
Perspective. Gravity.
I can't remember.
Gravity doesn't work.
Black Swan?
NASA.
I can't remember.
No, all incorrect. What he brought up, and Steve, you're gonna love this, and I want. Can you do me a favor? Can you like full screen your face because I want people to see your reaction to this.
I'm already on it twice, but I can make it larger for the outside here in a second.
Perfect. Yeah, make it big, make it big, baby, make it big because you're gonna love this shit. And by love, I mean you're gonna fucking hate it.
Dude, when Rez says make it big, I have no choice, man.
There we go. Perfect. Yeah, you love it.
It's big. All right, there you go. It's big.
Okay, here we go. So what he brought up as a counter to my evidence is Dr. Fauci is a douchebag.
Oh yeah, I remember that. Yep.
No way. Get out. Stop it.
It's in the debate.
No,
it's there.
Irrelevant to the shape of the earth.
Stop
Irrelevant to the shape of the earth.
Wow.
When I heard that, I'm like,
Fauci is a douchebag. He also said in that same debate that he's not religious, but he brought up 666 and Satan like a lot. He also said that scientists were pussies because they did 6.67 times 10 to negative 11 constant thing. He said, oh, they should have been brave and just went for 666. Why did they have to puss out and go 6.67, the pussies?
You talk about Avogadro's number?
No, the universal gravitational constant.
Oh, universal gravitational constant. Okay.
Yeah,
so 6.667 times 10 to the negative 11's for G.
I disengage whenever a flat earthers start going to religious stuff. I'm like, okay, whatever, just whatever. Because
that's the right response.
No reason. Yeah,
I 100% agree that is the right response, and that's exactly the response I gave. I told him your religion is not relevant to this conversation, and your hatred for Fauci, and you're trying to bring up anti-vax nonsense to a debate about fucking geometry. Yeah. So masks, whether they're effective or not, the vaccine, whether it's effective or not, all of this shit is irrelevant to a conversation, or in this case, a debate about the shape of the Earth.
Can you imagine if the gravitational constant was 6.66 and then how they would have to lose their minds kind of stuff, right?
Oh, they would lose their minds. But here's the thing. The fact that it isn't is also an indication of the conspiracy, because they were too chicken shit to just make it 666 in the first place.
That's the wonderful thing about conspiracy theories. Right? You could even if you get something off, like, oh, it's 666, it's Satan. Oh, it's 667. They're just too chicken shit to make it 666. That's the beauty of conspiracy theories.
You can make anything fit with this shit. And so if you wanted to have an actual conversation with a flat earther, you just have to be aware this is the kind of shit you're gonna get. So I was asking for a rebuttal to the evidence I presented, like, for example, my Tampa Bay blink test, or the luminous launches that I filmed myself, not from NASA. And what I got in return was, but Fauci's a douchebag, and you like Fauci, right? I go, whether I think the motherfucker's a douchebag or not is irrelevant to the shape of the Earth.
Yeah, that's, but again, that to me implies they're just being posed. Nobody of any consequence, when they're debating somebody, is going to say something like that. Only a person who wants to act like an idiot and say something comedic to be a Poe would say something like that. Right? I mean, come on. Do you actually think this guy actually believes the Earth is flat? Whatever the name was that you debated.
Yeah, his name on Twitter is Ban Notice, and for those who are interested, not sure why you would be, but if you are interested, you can go to my channel, click on the debate, and I put his Twitter profile in the description. It's at the very top, but. In all honesty, yes, I do believe he is a legit flat earther, but I also believe that he is fully aware that he doesn't have any actual evidence for that shit.
All right, so he's dishonest and stupid, but he believes what he believes.
He definitely believes what he believes, but he also knows for a fact that he had nothing against the evidence I presented. I mean, why else would you bring up some irrelevant bullshit like your hatred for Fauci?
I agree.
Yeah. So it was funny.
So let me ask you, since we're talking about the state of the great shape debate, some of the new players. I don't recognize some of the newer names out there. Maybe you guys do. Could you help me figure some of these names out for me? Maybe.
We'll do our best.
I guess it depends on which platform you're on. If you're on Discord, there's
no.
You've seen Witsit, right? You know Witsit.
I know of the name.
Witsit's been around for a while though.
I know the
He's
name.
kind of like a flurf. He's like a flurf daddy to a lot of the
I can't do Discord, man. No, I strictly pretty much do YouTube. So okay, so we got Mark Sargent. I know who he is. He's still been around, right?
Yeah, he's still around.
Yeah.
What was? And by the way, if you guys have any information about them more than just they're flat earthers, you know, like Mark Sargent, most people recognize him from like the what series he did some series on flat Earth in the news.
Yeah, flat Earth clues.
Mark Sargent was one of the first flat earthers I challenged to a debate, and the first flat earther I challenged to a debate was Jeranism, and it took him 2 years to accept that shit. But the second flat earther I ever challenged was Mark Sargent, and that motherfucker tucked his tail and fucked right off at the speed of sound, never be seen from or heard from ever again. It's been years, bro. Where the fuck you at?
He really, he didn't respond to you at all.
Oh, he did respond. He acknowledged my existence. Oh, absolutely. But when it came to actually accepting the debate call out that I made out to him, all I got was crickets.
Okay. What about the Morgile?
The Morgile, yes, I've had a run-in with him in the past. He left a very, very, very long ranty comment that didn't actually address the point that he was making that I debunked. And that claim that he made was that if you're on the equator, you would be flung right off if you could stand on the North Pole and not have any problems, because in order to stay on the equator, gravity would have to be so strong it would squash you like a bug. That was his assertion. Well, I did some basic math that you would learn in, middle school, and I was able to confirm that the difference is like 0.3%.
It's very, very nominal.
It's insignificant. Basically, in science, we have terms for certain measurements, and in this case, the proper term to use is fuck all.
Yeah.
It has fuck all change. And when I made this video to the Morgile, he left a very, very long ranty comment, and I ended up pinning it because it was hilarious.
Nice.
Yeah, they forget that the Earth only rotates once per day.
Yeah, right.
Like,
15 degrees
get
an
on a
hour.
merry-go-round. Get on a merry-go-round and turn it once per day. You're not going to get flung off.
But here's the thing. It was a flat earther that demonstrated that 15%, 15 degree, per hour. So, we owe the flat earthers that because they demonstrated it for us. So let me give you some other names.
You got Bob, right? You got Jeranism. You got Ranty. Well, Ranty was a flat earther.
Yeah,
you got Witsit. You got, I can name some of the ones.
Well, let me name them to you.
You got Flatzoid.
Yeah, let me name them to you because I have them here as I'm going through them. So Karen BFE. Who's that?
Yeah, irrelevant. Yeah, she's
irrelevant. Yeah, that's fine. If there's nobody to say irrelevant, I
it's just irrelevant. You don't hear from
Karen
them
B.
anymore. They kind of,
Karen B is a longtime flat earther. Hangs out with Mark Sargent.
Okay. Yes, fuck all is a technical term, April Von Ryan. Yes, it is a highly technical term. It's used for high-level discourse. Would you just say fuck all? Yeah. Mm-hmm. Brian Stavely?
Never heard of him.
Rick Hummer?
Yeah.
Never heard of him.
Robbie Davidson?
Never heard of him.
Oh, yeah, he's from FE Core.
Oh, I know FE Core.
Yeah.
Oh, I know FE Core.
Reds knows FE Core. So this is a new member of FE Core?
They didn't like the fact that I was calling them out on their bullshit, and so they were trying to copyright strike us to hell and back.
Yeah, I remember
because we were able to show that they weren't a legitimate organization and that they were in fact ripping people off. So when FE Core got wind of this, they decided that the only recourse was to copyright strike the ever living shit out of us, which, I fought that and won.
True story.
So it was that was a fun time. That was a fun time.
I definitely remember that. Let's see, who do we got here? We have I'm gonna butcher this name. Iru Landusi?
Never heard of him.
Never heard of him.
Kyle Adams?
Yes, nope. I've heard of Kyle Adams.
Oh, you have? Who's he?
Yeah.
Irrelevant. Just say irrelevant.
Yeah, he was like a religious flat earther.
Oh, some of them
but you don't really hear about them anymore. I think they kind of disappeared for a while, but yeah, you don't really hear from them anymore.
All right, how about Let's see here. Yeah, Yummy Doctor?
Never heard of him.
Nope.
David Weiss?
David
Yes.
Weiss. Oh,
Weiss.
yeah.
David Weiss.
That's Girth.
That's
That's
who?
Girth. Deep inside the rabbit hole. That's the
Girth.
motherfucker
Yeah,
that
Girth.
made the app that doesn't work.
Yeah, that app.
So that
Oh,
so
I made a
David
video
and the
about
Rabbit's
that.
still around? They're still around?
Oh
Earth
yeah.
is Life?
Oh yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, absolutely.
You made a
Oh,
video
yeah.
about his app, Earth is Life?
Yeah. Yeah, because there was a guy in Australia. What the heck was his name? He was a flat earther, but he did kind of disappeared too. And they showed that they found a flat earther in Antarctica. So I'm like, okay, so I guess we can travel. We can freely travel to Antarctica now. If there's a flat, if on the app it shows that there's a flat earther in Antarctica, and if there is a flat earther in Antarctica, he can go out and film the 24-hour sun.
Well,
right?
yeah, but Antarctica is just New England with a soundstage, I think, isn't it?
Right.
Yeah, it's all green screens and really really strong refrigerators. But also Dearth is like I said, he is. I would say of all the flat earthers that I have had the misfortune of speaking with, I will go on record and say that he's one of the most, if not the most, disingenuous pieces of shit out there. So let me explain this. So Dearth built up his, let's call it an empire. He built up his empire on this narrative that he was seeking the truth and that he would do whatever he could to get to the truth, to seek the truth, and blah, blah, fucking blah.
Right.
Well, based on the numbers that are displayed on his own app, which you have to purchase for $3, there's supposedly over 66 or 67 or some shit like that, thousand members who downloaded this shit and paid for it. So 66,000 people have downloaded this thing at $3 a pop, meaning that this motherfucker easily made over $100,000, even when you consider Google taking their angel share of the profit. So get this, when you have that much money, a lot of things are possible, including, I don't know, a ride on Jeff Bezos' space dick.
Exactly.
Because a seat on one of those suborbital cock rockets costs about $100,000. Or better yet, he could pay for himself and all of his flat earth buddies to take a trip to Antarctica with a professional tour guide and record the 24-hour sun. They could literally go there, see that there's actually no military bases or super hydraulic monsters with cannon laser fire, whatever the fuck he thinks that's down there. He could go there himself with all of his flat earth buddies, film the 24-hour sun, and still have money left over in the bank to buy a fucking house with a jacuzzi.
Exactly.
That's why I say that Dearth, out of all of them, is the most disingenuous piece of shit to ever grace the internet, because he literally has everything he needs to blow this lid wide open in a way that it would actually work. Like, this motherfucker has enough money, he can launch his own CubeSat.
Yeah.
He could literally hire a company to build him a CubeSat that only does one thing: take pictures, motherfucker. And he could launch it on a rideshare program with a Falcon 9 rocket. Orbit doesn't matter. The inclination doesn't matter. You don't care about that shit. You just want to get the space in general. Well, guess what? They got discount rights to space for that amount of money. So he has the capability. He could have sent himself to space. He could have sent his own satellite to space. He could have taken a trip with not just himself, but all of his flat earth buddies to Antarctica. But he has decided to do none of it besides pocket that money.
No, I think it's all disingenuous.
Fucking bullshit.
There's a YouTuber that I really like to watch. His name's 74 Gear. 74 Gear. Yeah. And he has some really, really amazing videos. And he had offered one time as a pilot, he would go with them, but he wanted to arrange a flat Earth, kind of thing to go to Antarctica and do all that stuff.
Yeah, that was with Jeranism, actually.
Yeah, and I think Jeranism was something he was working with, but they were never going to do that. Obviously, one, they know that what they would find. They know that they would be humiliated and it'd be a lot of wasted money for nothing. So they're not interested in finding the truth because they know the truth. That's what I'm saying. Jeranism is a Poe. He knows the Earth is not flat. I am absolutely convinced of this. Am I wrong? Sure, I eat shit on that. But for the most part, I do think, for a fact, none of them are going to invest that much amount of money into to their claims because they know their claims cannot be demonstrated. Every time a flat earther has spent money to demonstrate their claim, it has shown the earth is not flat.
Up proving the globe.
Absolutely. Every single solitary time without fail. And that's how it's always going to be. And I think that's kind of funny. And that's why I don't think Deep in the Rattle is going to, waste his time with that. And it's so ridiculous. He made money off an app that doesn't work. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, he made money off an app that doesn't work, and that's sad enough. But the fact is that he's made enough money that he can actually blow the lid off this fucking thing for everyone to see. You can go on a suborbital ride with Jeff Bezos and his penis-shaped rocket. And you can take, a camera with you, and you can be like, oh, you can make sure it's any camera you want, even the coveted Nikon P900 or P1000 or any other camera that you want. You can take it up with you, take pictures while you're up there, float around, experience the curvature of the earth with your own eyes. He has this option, but chooses not to do it, which means this motherfucker doesn't care about the truth. He only cares about lining his pocket, which is why I say with confidence, he's a disingenuous piece of shit.
Reds, did you coin that term, flat earther camera of choice?
Yes.
I think
that's the P900. Yeah, the P900 was the flat earther camera of choice. He coined that.
Yeah, the flat earther camera of choice, because for some reason it's the only camera that doesn't make real-time CGI.
But think how much money they would make if they could actually show all the scientists in the world are dishonest. NASA's dishonest. They would become the most famous person in history. They would probably become the next Jesus Christ as far as people talked about for thousands of years if they can show that all these people were in some massive conspiracy to say that we went to the moon, to say that we've launched probes on Mars. Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Down the rabbit hole, he knows none of them are going to do it. None of them will do it.
None of them are going to do it, because the very moment that they do something that would be legitimate, their flat earth career is over. They would have, because they don't want to spend all this money only to eat crow at the end of the day. Even if you do get an experience like launching to space, we can make fun of Jeff Bezos's rocket that looks like a giant penis. We can make fun of that all day long, and believe me, I'm going to continue making fun of it till the very day I die, because let's face it, it looks like a dick. But it is one hell of an experience. And he is passing that up because he doesn't want to eat crow at the end of the day, or he cares about the money more than seeing the awesomeness of the earth from space.
Okay, well, let me ask you this. Jeranism demonstrated the earth was not flat. How is it he's still a name in the flat earth community?
Well, that's because it's the same way that Dearth is a name in the flat earth community. People need someone to look up to in a religion. Right. Like we've all seen the who's that one pastor that was busted for taking money from the church to buy a mansion or some shit like that.
All of them, like almost all of them.
Hang on. No, it's a particular Joel Osteen, that motherfucker. Yeah,
but he's so honest, man. He's
so honest. Yeah, it's so fucking honest, that motherfucker.
God wants me to be rich. He's told me. So if you want to, show your faith in God, make me rich, because that's what God wants.
Yeah, you want to show your faith in God. Send your seed in the mail in the form of a check, and God will bless thee with riches untold. Whatever the fuck. Anyway,
the meta level of that scam is beyond my comprehension. That he has the balls to pull it off and successfully pull it off.
But you have to think, Steve. If that shit works, then no wonder people are going to still follow journalism, even though he shot himself in the foot more times than I care to count.
That's what I'm saying, dude. If you and I really wanted to make a name for ourselves and be popular and be, these superstar YouTubers make money, we should have been flat earthers. We could have been you, especially because you understand it. You could bullshit like anybody else if you want to on it. I have a hard time with that because I'm just so fastidious in the facts. But you could probably go, hey, I'm going to be a po for flat earther because you know it so well. But I think you would bust up laughing at some point. I don't think you can hold a straight face.
I would bust out laughing so fucking fast.
That's my problem. I couldn't hold a straight face.
Yeah, a lot of us.
I would have to.
That's the problem I think we're both run into.
I would have to pretend that I'm the flat earth version of the Joker to get away with it.
But think about that. This is what I'm saying. That's where the money is at, is on the deception side. When you have Joel Osteen. Yeah, these guys are making bank with this whole prosperity gospel crap. So
and also if you look at their there was a story that John Oliver showed, and it shows a pastor bragging about all the private jets that he bought with cash. And then he shows another story of one pastor saying, "Hey, I'm trying to raise money for another private jet because my old one, because my old one can't fly across country nonstop. I need to pull over to refuel, and that is and that's not conducive to spreading the word of the Lord or some bullshit like that. Like, you motherfucker!"
That was
and people believe this shit.
He a Gulfstream 4 at the time or something wasn't good enough. You needed a Gulfstream 5 or whatever the new version was. But it was exactly what you said. But it was because he said, if I have a faster plane, I can convert people faster. So he was, at least he was being consistent, right? He's like, yeah, I got to go preach the gospel.
But Steve, you don't understand. Did you know that the Gulfstream 4, I mean, of course he needed a Gulfstream 5 because the Gulfstream 4 didn't even have a remote for its DVD hot tub surround sound system.
Yeah, that's important. Look, Reds, if you're going to convert the world, you need to be relaxed. You need to have time off. Right, so I can understand why you need all the amenities, like a hot tub and something of that nature.
A hot tub,
of course.
You know,
hookers, cocaine, whatever you want.
The carpet being made of $20,000 alpaca or some shit like that. I mean, we got preachers that are flying around like they're LeBron James, like motherfucker.
Exactly.
You don't deserve to fly in that kind of luxury. You are scamming people in the word of the Lord.
Mm-hmm.
You make Jesus cry. Jesus wept because of bullshit artists like you, and this is why you have now again. This is my opinion, and you know, feel free to disagree with me, but I think it's something similar with Jeranism and Dearth, which is no matter how many times they shoot themselves in the foot, no matter how many times they expose themselves, they're still going to be following them because flat earthers need someone to follow. And unfortunately, Jeranism put himself on a pedestal, put himself out there, and was not afraid to make himself look like an absolute idiot. And so there you go.
Yeah, I think you're right. Well, I mean, somebody had mentioned in the live chat, regular planes are full of demons. That was Kenneth Copeland that said that. He doesn't fly. Oh. Yeah, Kenneth Copeland doesn't fly commercial because they're full of demons. So he has to have.
They're full of demons.
Yeah. Again, people buy into this shit, right? You know, it's like, you know, I'm known as the agnostic of YouTube kind of stuff. I'm probably the more. If people think of agnostic, I don't know how many more agnostics there are other than me, really. But I am one of the more well-known, I guess, agnostics. But even I think certain things are bullshit. Okay, you want to argue that demons are on planes, so you have to have your own private jet? Hey, I respect the hustle, but you're a dishonest cunt. I'm sorry. So I'm gonna call it as I say it. Kenneth Copeland is dishonest and delusional, probably. But
and
people
so,
buy into this shit, though.
And it's like no matter how much. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Reds.
And then sorry to interrupt you too. But that's exactly what these flat earthers are trying to turn themselves into. They're trying to be the flat earth version of Joel Osteen or Copeland. You know, they're trying to be that thing. And, you know, honesty, integrity, that shit goes out the fucking window. Right. You know, because that's why we have this hashtag gotta lie to flurf.
Exactly.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of them that actually think the earth is flat for religious reasons too, right?
And no matter how hard you debunk them and how much you show how wrong they are, they'll continue to say the same stuff no matter what.
Well, remember, Steve, who's the one guy? He's a Jesus fucker. Who's that guy?
God. Shit, why do you put me in the spot like this, dude? Jesus.
Okay, well, you know who I'm talking about.
Orthodox something or other. Yeah, Jesus fucker.
So his name is something who gives a fuck.
Orthodox something or other. I'll have to figure it out.
Like I said, something who gives a fuck. But this guy, we were trying to ask him a single question about if you were to go to the International Space Station and look down on our beautiful round Earth, would you be honest about it? And he couldn't answer it. He couldn't. We tried.
No.
Steve, how long were we trying to get that one answer out of him? Like, how long?
A while. Yeah, because he just refused to answer direct questions.
And that is the level of shit that I'm talking about.
Yeah, his name was it's killing me here.
But that is an example of a flat earther who believes this shit for religious reasons. And when you're talking to individuals like that, the best that you can ever hope for is to make their brain short circuit for a few seconds just for your own entertainment. There was one flat earther who I recently had on my channel. The name escapes me at this moment, but I was telling him about the International Space Station. He doesn't believe the International Space Station exists because Jesus. So I told him about an observation that can be done, how he can verify it himself, and if he were to actually do that, hypothetically, would he then believe in the International Space Station? And he literally struggled to answer that question, honestly, if at all. In fact, if I remember correctly, he didn't answer that question at all. You know, he kept reverting back to, but Jesus, but Bible this, verse that. Like, dude, I don't give a fuck. I'm talking about parallax. I'm talking about literally the basis of your depth perception. We don't need to go to the Bible. We don't need to go to Jesus. We don't need to go to numerology or the Virgin Mary, whether or not the Virgin Mary was actually a virgin or just a fucking whore. We don't need to go to any of that. We don't.
Yeah, I don't see how they're related. I really don't. I don't get when people use religion to try to push the flat Earth stuff.
Yeah, all that stuff is irrelevant to the shape of the Earth.
Exactly. That stuff is irrelevant to the shape of the Earth.
It really is. Like, if a person wants to believe the shape of the Earth is for religious reasons, whatever, they're entitled to that. But as soon as they say that they can demonstrate or something like that, I like to see that because they know they can't. To them, it's just some weird belief that they have, and they're entitled to it. But the rest of the world goes, you're wrong. What are you supposed to do? We can demonstrate you're wrong. That's the difference between the flat Earth camp and the people that can show the Earth is not flat. The people that can show the Earth is not flat do so every day. And the people that argue the Earth is flat have never once demonstrated the Earth is flat. This is a fact. Never have they demonstrated this. Not once. Reg, do you know any flat earther that's demonstrated the Earth is flat? Because if they exist, I'm unaware of them.
Let me go ahead. Hang on. No, hang on. Let me grab my notes here.
Look back again. Make sure you go. I got
to check. They'll just show you a glass of water and say water always finds its level.
Yeah, hang on 1 second. Okay,
check your notes. You got to be thorough here, man. I mean, I don't want to miss.
I'm trying, man. I'm trying. Yeah. Okay, let's see. Okay.
Go watch every video you've done and just
hang on. Okay, so I got Jesus. No, that's not it. I got misdefining or redefining level. No, that ain't it.
That's bad.
I got Black Swan. For fuck's sake, there's a lot of pages here about the Black Swan. Let me tell you something. I'm gonna have to go with fuck all.
Fuck all. Yeah. Well, that's don't get technical, man. Why? I mean, we have a simple audience here. We want simplicity here, man. Why you got to be all technical? Fuck all is complicated.
Yeah, you know, what we get when we're asking for proof of the globe is we're getting a redefinition of the word level. We're getting the Black Swan, which is a refracted piece of shit image. We're getting nuh-uh all the time, or we're getting this colossal hate boner for NASA, even though, and I cannot stress this enough, I do not go to NASA for my evidence. Holy shit.
That's the best way to do it.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but doesn't every country kind of have their own form of NASA?
Yeah, so like Japan has JAXA, Europe has ESA, Canada has CSA. Hell, the Chinese have their own fucking space station.
They sure do.
Maybe
they
lying
have their own
too.
space station called the Tiangong.
Yeah. Well, and they also just had another space station from prior to that fall down to the Earth, and people could actually see it coming in the atmosphere. It's so funny. How do they whenever there's like a prediction of an Earth satellite falling, we know generally approximately when it's going to fall,
where it's going to fall,
and generally location, right? I mean, we could come up with an idea. How do they argue that that's not something that shows the Earth is not flat because they
say
model
it's pieces of the firmament falling off or some shit like that.
So they think that scientists are studying the firmament, going, "Hey, the firmament that God created, that's indestructible, is this degrading?"
No, they claim that all the satellites are on balloons, and I always ask,
I've heard that one too.
A balloon can travel at 17,500 miles per hour.
Yeah.
Also, how would you get a balloon? How would you get a balloon to stay in one, like geostationary satellites? How would you get a balloon to stay in one place over the Earth?
I don't know how they would do Starlink. How do they? How would
They
that work?
wouldn't.
Yeah,
They wouldn't.
how would that work?
And that's a good question right there that you would ask flat earthers. How can you get a balloon to stay in one spot like that? The simple fact is you can't. And how do you get a balloon to travel 4.7 miles per second? You can't. And I'm sorry, but when they also claim that rockets are balloons, I've never seen a balloon break the fucking sound barrier.
Exactly.
So all right. So we obviously, when we talk about flat Earth, we're gonna have people in the live chat to show up that want to start, flat earthing. What do you want to say to them? I mean, like one person's just saying there's no curvature. Well,
Link is posted, motherfucker.
To me, I just dismiss them anymore. I can't look. I can't take them seriously.
Curvature right here. I have curvature right here. Here you go. You see this? Let me see if I can doing this building right here. If you can see that.
Yeah,
that's
I can
a 15-story building, right? So you see this line right here? That's me looking through an auto level at I think I was 11 feet off the ground. So for some reason, that line is hitting the top of that 15-story building.
Now, if you were actually on the ground, how much of that more is covered up to that level of what with water?
I'm sorry.
If you were actually on the ground, how much that black line that's all underwater? You wouldn't be able to see that if you're 11 feet off the ground.
If I'm no. So that if you get more near the ground, of course the black line is going to get more near the water.
Right. How much so? Do you have an approximation?
That I'm not.
But it would be obviously notable.
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, clearly.
When I did my my Tampa Bay skyline observation, I also have a bet that goes along with it because I revealed the exact location literally in the video. I gave coordinates, and my bet was this: if you are able to take a picture of the Tampa Bay skyline, that's one thing. But what I want to see is the runway to MacDill Air Force Base, which sits between me and the Tampa Bay skyline. MacDill Air Force Base, or the runway to it, literally is within that frame of view, but you can't see it.
I used to live down there.
I used to live. You used to live in Tampa?
I used to live on Southwest Shore Boulevard.
Oh, excellent! Yeah, then you know exactly what I'm talking about.
Right by the Gandy Bridge.
Why?
Yeah, right by the Gandy Bridge.
Why?
So
Why would you want to live in Florida?
I was here for like 7 years.
Why?
Hey, listen, we live in Florida because fuck you. That's why.
It sucks. So if you go in Florida, you guys suck.
But if you go to the north side of the Skyway Bridge and you were to take a picture of the Tampa Bay skyline, you will be looking right over the runway to MacDill Air Force Base. So the challenge is simple. Go there on any day of your choosing, refraction or no refraction, take a picture of the skyline while also showing the runway in that same image. You will not be able to do it because the curvature of the earth is always going to fuck you in the ass every time you try.
Nuh-uh.
No. That's what we get all the time. And so, but like I said, this is out there. I tell them exactly where I took the image from. I show them the camera that I did it with. So go ahead, do it. Be my guest, motherfucker.
Yeah, I don't think any flat earther. One, they're not going to come in here too. I think they're just spewing. Go ahead.
Remember BM Furball?
Yeah.
Yes.
So there's a video that he did he actually came to Hawaii and he was there for vacation, and he made an observation from the beach in Honolulu, looking literally towards the place where I do all my observations. And I went to the same place he did and made the same observation and got the same result.
Yeah, but he's a government shill, so he can't be trusted.
Right.
Yeah, I know BM. He actually does kind of do stuff for the government, but still.
yeah, I know. I think he's in the military.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I mean, that's what I'm saying. At least, people still out there doing these. I hate to use experiments because technically they are, but there's really, we know the outcome. But they're just.
Yeah, we don't see any of those videos anymore. Those we see too far videos. You don't really see many of those anymore.
Yeah, and look, it's expensive. It's time consuming for people to go out there and do these things, and I get that. I don't have the wherewithal to. I know Reds loves doing it. He'll coordinate. He'll be like, hey, I need to do this at this location, that location. Let's just check the transit, the ISS, and all this other stuff, and eclipsing.
Oh, I'd love to do one of those.
I probably would, but I got to tell you, the amount of preparation and detail that Reds has to do for these things.
Yeah, you have to get to the right
Right.
spot.
It's a lot of work. I don't have to.
I think when I was living in Hawaii, there was one that I would have been able to catch, but it was out in the ocean somewhere, like 2 or 3 miles out in the ocean. So I was like, "Fuck, okay, not going out there."
Yeah, just rent a charter boat or something. But Reds, how many hours do you think go into prepping the average rocket launch, or even more importantly, something along the lines of an ISS transit or a solar eclipse, all of which would demonstrate the Earth isn't flat? How much prep goes into that?
Oh, a lot. So let me go ahead and talk about the rocket launches, and then I'm going to go to the ISS transits.
Okay.
So first of all, the rocket launches are 3 hours away in each direction. So that's 6 hours right there. Then you have to talk about at the very least 2 to 2.5 hours of just sitting and waiting for the damn thing to go off. And then if the damn thing doesn't go off, if the launch is canceled, there's nothing you can do about that. So then you have to drive back with nothing. And then you have to go all the way back there again when they reschedule for the next day or the next time they're going to make an attempt. So I have done that process multiple times. Sometimes you're lucky and they launch on the first shot, but sometimes you have to go back over and over and over again to actually see the damn thing lift off. I have been to over 70 rocket launches. And there have been more than a handful of times where they have scrubbed or canceled the launch, where I've had to make that big ass road trip all over again because, you can't control the weather. You can control if equipment fails. You don't have control over those factors. And so you are taking a risk every time you make that long ass journey. When it comes to ISS transits, even though it's a guarantee that the transit is going to happen when it's properly predicted, the one thing that's not guaranteed is the weather. So you could literally go out to a spot to film a transit, and you will get rained out or clouded out, and you will capture nothing. And there has been also a handful of times where that has happened. So, for example, before I did my most recent ISS transit, there was one that was going to happen across the sun about 3 weeks prior to that. I drove over an hour to try and capture that transit. And the very moment I got there, it was blue sky all the way around me, except for right on top of me where it was raining. I was rained out of this motherfucker after driving over an hour. And then you got to think, I need to get Astronomy Live to one of these bitches to film a transit from 2 different locations, hoping that the weather actually works out. And so he had to drive 4 hours. I had to drive 2 hours. And then after that, we have to compile the evidence, put it all together, explain it simply so that even a flat earther can understand it. It's a lot. It's a big fucking job.
When I lived in Orlando, Florida, I remember being in a situation where there was a sidewalk. And I was on this side of the sidewalk. And I looked up and it was just pure blue, super hot, pure blue sky. I looked on the other side and there's this line that was just clouds and there was rain and it was right on one half of the sidewalk. From half the sidewalk, It was raining like cats and dogs, and on the other half of the sidewalk was perfectly dry, and the front wasn't moving. It must have been moving like this way rather than like toward me or away, so it was moving orthogonal to me. I was mesmerized by this. I've never seen anything like this before. How there's just such a line of demarcation between rain. Not rain.
Yeah, I've seen that before.
Yeah,
I've seen it.
Florida's weird.
Crazy.
And also one video that I posted 6 months ago, which is observing the sun to test the flat Earth, where I track the sun all day long. I was waiting for that day to arrive, where I was looking for perfect weather conditions, where I would get almost no clouds throughout the entire day, and so that's what was what was predicted with a few weather apps that I had. So I took off of work that day and I went to the beach with my camera and tracked the sun all day long. But let me tell you something that is not shown in that video, and that is me losing my shit halfway through the observation, because even though the app said that it was going to be a crystal clear day, there was going to be no clouds whatsoever, there was clouds over land but they were stopping just short of the Gulf of Mexico, and they stayed there throughout the entire fucking day.
Oh, man.
They're like, "Oh, am I going to do it? No. Am I going to block? No. Am I going to fuck up your shot? No. And they did get close. In fact, you'll see in my time lapse that a few clouds did come into view, but 99% of the day was crystal clear, and it was awesome and beautiful and gorgeous. But I made that observation before, and I got clouded out halfway through. So I literally had to do this shit not once, but twice in order to get that shot. A lot of work goes into making these videos and to do the observation that flat earthers say you should do yourself. Only when you actually do the work, you present the evidence, you make the video, you explain it in a way that even a fucking flat earther can understand it. They say, no. As a response to all the work that they said that you should do.
And by the way, this person in the live chat who I just invited in was talking about naval weapons not working on a spinning ball. I've worked on Navy ships, including ones with gyroscopes. Our ship had a gyroscope, believe it or not. Navy weapons are predicated on the fact that the Earth is curvature. I absolutely assure you of this. If you're doing targeting, especially with rocketry, you have to take into account not just the spinning of the Earth, but the Coriolis effect. If you're going a long distance, it's going to be that rocket is going to curve. The Earth is curved. You can see this when you're out there on the horizon, ships going over the horizon. But we have a gyroscope that's predicated on the fact that the Earth is spinning, that it maintains the same axis regardless of tilt. This is because when you're on a ship and you list back and forth or whatever you're moving, you want the gyroscope to remain upright as far as your what is it called? Your geolocation, I guess you can call it. You want to make sure that the GPS and everything works. You want to make sure the gyroscope is functioning correctly. You know, I don't know why he's saying that this is not predicated on a spinning ball, because yes, all the weaponry is. I mean, and the curvature.
It's literally in some of the
for.
manuals.
Yeah.
And there's tables in the manual that talk about, accounting for curvature, accounting for the rotation. In the manual.
Are fake NASA psyop, whatever the fuck they say.
One manual said that one of them says like we assume a fixed location in 6 degrees of freedom, which was just because of the modeling. It didn't require any kind of curvature. That's all. It's just simpler for the math. That's all. But it didn't say the Earth was not flat. Mm-hmm. We just say, hey, we're not taking into account the curvature because we don't need it. It just adds more to the math.
But let me also point this out, is that the people that say that the military doesn't take curvature into account with their artillery rounds and shit like that, they don't actually have confidence in their position. So I'm going to demonstrate that right now. Charlie, let me talk to you directly for a second. I am hopelessly allergic to fish. If I eat fish, I will shit my pants. There will be. Have you ever seen Niagara Falls? It's beautiful. Imagine that, but with shit. And that will be from my ass. Now, here's the reason why I'm telling you this about this tidal wave of shit that could potentially fly out of my ass if I were to eat fish. If you are brave enough to come onto this show and give us just 1 hour of your time to talk about this shit, link posted at the top of the live chat. If you give us just 1 hour of your time, I will eat fish on camera.
I'm not going for an hour. First, I don't want to see you like dehydrated.
On camera, Reds? Wow.
On camera, I will eat fish. That fish will be gone, and I guarantee you it will not be a happy time for me. But the reason why I'm making this offer is because I am 99.9% confident that you're not going to collect that link because you don't have confidence in your position.
Yeah, and I'm not talking to this guy for an hour.
I don't know if we're ready for that to be able to see.
I mean, hell, we can do it. That. Hey, we can do it on a different live stream. On my channel. My channel is fit for shit shows like this. And in this case,
I'm all for that.
It would actually be a shit show. There would be a showing of a lot of shit.
Let's do it. What's his name? Quaalude Charlie. Come in here and arrange this here to go on Red's channel to have an actual shit show. I am so down for this.
Make Reds eat fish, because if I do
live on camera,
it would be awful for me. So if you really want me to suffer, that's how you do it. Like I said,
I knew you weren't a fan of sushi. I knew you weren't somebody who liked fish and something. But I didn't know you were actually like allergic to it. I don't recall that.
I don't know if allergic is the right word. What I do know for a fact is that if I do eat fish, it will result in a cataclysmic shit tornado coming right out of my ass.
Come on, Quaalude, come on, man, get in here, please.
It would be what is known as a punado.
It's so funny. We're all like, we want Reds to be miserable. We're all happy about this. This is what kind of friendship we have. It's like, hey, Reds is gonna be miserable for a while. Let's do it. Let's do it.
So let's do this. So come on in to the Non-Sequitur Show before the Non-Sequitur Show concludes for the evening. Set this up with me,
it quick, buddy.
and we'll go ahead and do this.
Yeah, let's do it. Make it quick.
He's a Flurf 101. Right? Water always finds its level.
Oh God.
Yeah. I mean, again,
Earth is flat and it does not move.
I don't want the fruit on the ground. I just did a show just today on Dr. Braxton Hunter's channel, Trinity Radio, and their discussions are much more elevated. They have, actual academics come on, and the discussion is much higher level. And I was explaining that I don't want to deal with the fruit on the ground anymore. These are people that are not just low-hanging fruit. They're low on the ground. They have nothing to offer. Is this guy one of those?
He said, I am not as smart as my mentors. Who are your flirt buddies?
How smart do you have to be a flat earth mentor? This is what I want to know. What's the criteria to be a flat earth mentor?
Who knows? The ones that think that they think they're the leaders in the flat Earth community. Probably Witsit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's not. He's not gonna do it.
Reg, you have to debate Witsit. That will be. We've been trying to get Witsit to debate Professor Dave for a while. That will be.
I rolled out the red carpet. All he has to do is hit me up on Twitter or send me an email or post a comment on my channel somewhere, sometime. But the dude's not showing up. Isn't that the hardest part? They make the arrangements, and then I'm not even. This is not hyperbole here. This is actual fact. I think that almost every time we dealt with a flat earther on Non Sequitur, even on my other channel, there was always some kind of technical problem. They always were late. They always couldn't get the technology right. There was a problem with the mic. There was almost always something, and I don't know what it is. It got worse.
Am I joking? Am I joking though, Ed? Am I?
No, you're not joking.
I'm so serious on this.
No, you're not joking, and this speaks to that because it actually has gotten worse recently. And let me tell you how bad it's gotten, and I'll finish off with this point because this point I think really highlights the state of the debate. See, it took 42 weeks to get a flat earther to agree to debate me. It took, I would say, more than 15 weeks, somewhere around there, around 15 weeks after I had another flat earther as a moderator for the debate. So I am looking for a flat earther to debate me while a flat earther is in charge. And even then it was a pain in the ass to get people to agree to debate little old me.
He sounds like you're looking for a unicorn.
Well, and this is where Sacred comes in, because Sacred is biased as fuck. To be fair, he doesn't hide the fact that he's biased as fuck, and that's why I picked him, because he will state explicitly that he is biased against the globe, which is fine. That's why I chose him.
Yeah.
But has he ever made any observations though, like any kind of observations? Left his house?
I would say no. I would say no. But keep this in mind. That's not his job in this context. His job is simply to moderate the debate. So I had a flat earther for a moderator, and I've had two separate flat earthers run away, even though another flat earther was going to moderate the debate. But that wasn't good enough. Still, not only did the flat earther have to be the moderator, but it had to be on a fucking Twitter space.
I saw you trying to arrange that. This is what I'm saying. You jump through all these hoops that I wouldn't even couldn't be bothered to jump through. I'm like, you want to talk to me, talk to me. If you don't, that's fine. There was a person at one time who said, hey, if Steve McRae listens to this, reach out to me. I'll have a conversation with you. Somebody informed me of this, and I'm like, oh, okay. Reached out to them. I'll have a conversation with you. But then they're like, no, I changed my mind, and they were making it very difficult to have a conversation. I'm like, no, okay, fine, whatever. You reach out to me.
I had to give up so much ground, and give up any hopes of any sort of quality within this debate to even have a debate in the first place. It had to be on their platform of choice. A flat earther needed to be the moderator, and I could not have any control of the call or the format ever other than, you know, it's 10 minutes here, 10 minutes there, that kind of thing. If they wanted to stray from the topic, I already know for a fact that the flat earther is going to let them. If the subject is, we're going to talk about evidence for your model, if they start preaching, you know, God, Bible, satanic, you know, Fauci bullshit, I know the flat earth moderator is going to let them spew that shit, even though it has nothing to do with the subject. That's what I had. That's the ground I had to give up. But that's the ground that was the ground that I knew I had to give up. I knew I had to give up that ground to even have a chance at debating a flat earther today.
Yeah,
that's how bad
I get it, and I've been in a similar situation. Just not long ago, I was invited to a channel with one of your old dear friends. You might remember his name being G-Man. Familiar with that name? Yeah. So I went on his channel with no expectation, of course, of being treated fairly by a bunch of people. And of course I wasn't, but it's just, you know, I knew what I was getting myself into. So, you know, sometimes you just throw caution to the wind. You're like, you know, you're getting yourself into, you're not going to have a fair platform, but, you know, whatever. I get it. I don't do it very often. But I think you learn from your experience with the Twitter spaces that it's just what good comes of it.
Nothing good comes of it. But the point remains that that's the amount of ground you have to give up in order to have any chance at debating a flat earther nowadays. So
that's how scared they are, though.
Oh yeah, they're fucking terrified. I mean, I just offered to eat fish and shit my pants right here on the Non-Sequitur Show, and in order to make that thing happen, a flat earther just has to click the fucking link.
They're not doing
I'm waiting, bitch. Where the fuck are you? This is the state of the debate where you have to give up so much ground to them. You have to make them feel safe and protected. A flat earther needs to be the moderator, and then only then they
should we do that?
They might actually do a debate with you.
Should we make this? Should we have an episode one of these days, maybe next month, of a safe space for a flat earther? We'll call it flat Earth safe space, and we'll always be positive. Everything we say is positive. We can't do anything negative. We have to coddle them. We have to be like very understanding and loving. Should we do that?
Wow. Okay. I'm gonna have to think about that.
If Witzik wants to come in. Did he Jose used to do shows like that?
Yeah, he used to do shows like that where he would just only allow flat earthers, and he would allow them to bring whatever evidence they would try and bring. And of course, they would never bring any evidence, and then we'd say, okay, now it's the Globers' turn to bring evidence, and then we would just pile it on them.
Well, the entire show. Reach out to Witzik or whatever his name is. Go be like, hey, Steve and Rez, they'll be kind, they'll be gentle. And by the way, that is not easy. That's not easy for Rez. Kindness and Reds, just with flat earthers, doesn't really mix very well. He can do it, but it's not his platform of choice.
He's so Witsit is so delusional. He thinks that he's debunked Einstein and the theory of relativity.
I don't doubt that. I think a lot of flat earthers suffer from such Dunning-Kruger that they do actually think they've. Look, we have somebody that we know. His name's Mr. Intelligent Design. Nice guy, but he thinks he's just
dumb as a box. Yeah, dumb as a box of rocks.
Absolutely dumb. I mean, but he thinks he has literally rewritten, you know, general theory of relativity, and yet he doesn't know what a metric tensor equation even is. And he says he does, yet I know he doesn't. He has no clue what these things are.
Mr. Intelligent Design, the guy who proved God or something with eggs and tissue.
Proved that
what?
He proved
tissue.
What did he?
What?
What was he trying to prove?
Please explain.
It's how you can't. No,
you can't.
You can't explain it. There's nothing explainable here.
Okay, so he had tissue paper, right? And he cracked an egg on the tissue paper.
No,
the egg.
No, you got it wrong. Okay, hang on. Let me explain it. He didn't crack the egg. What he was trying to demonstrate was intelligence. Just go with this. Don't ask questions. You can't. Because there's something to ask.
So he didn't crack the egg.
No,
he
dropped the egg.
Explain to me, Steve. Please help me out.
All right. So he would put like 9 pieces of tissue in this experimental box that he had. He would drop an egg, and if the egg didn't break, that's fine. Then he would remove one tissue. beat the experiment. The egg didn't break. When he got down to like 2 tissues and the egg broke, he demonstrated intelligence. That's it. I don't know how to go. I've read it. I tried reading his what we called a book.
I don't get it.
Nobody does. That's the whole point. Nobody does.
Yeah. Okay. So it was
paper towel. Okay, it's paper towel.
Paper towels. Whatever. So he had paper towels. Yeah. He dropped an egg, cracked or not, and that somehow proved God because reasons. Yeah. I don't know.
It proved intelligence, which goes to there's a God. It's bizarre, man.
I mean, but keep in mind that Mr. Intelligent Design was a potential nominee for Dumb Fuck of the Year, but he did not make it because you have to be a dumb fuck by choice, not disability. And we truly believe that he had a disability, if memory serves me correctly. Edgar's not mentally well.
I mean, I like Edgar. I still talk to him every so often. He really is a nice guy.
He's nice.
He needs professional intervention.
I know I have nothing personal against the dude, but my God, he says some dumb shit.
Oh yeah, but but his new thing is he's actually going on my videos, when I post a video on Facebook or whatever, and he goes to the comment section, he's trying to come up with something called a squeeze-on, which is his new model for gravity. That gravity is basically squeezing things together. He calls it a squeeze-on.
Pushy.
There was he argues that too. I'm serious. No, I'm not joking. He argues that gravity pushes things rather than like
funny.
pulls.
It's funny you say that because there was remember he passed away recently. What's the guy's name?
Was he a flat earther?
I think he passed. No, he was a glober. He passed away.
Conspiracy cats?
No, not conspiracy cats.
No, Schrodinger cat. Schrodinger.
Yeah, Schrodinger's cat. So he moderated a debate between a guy named Stingray and Blue Marble. Oh no, Bob the Science Guy, and Stingray was arguing for a thing called pushytrons.
Pushytrons.
Yes. Pushytrons. That was gravity. Was pushytrons.
Introducing new sex toy from Bad Dragon. It has pushytrons.
But Stingray is definitely not a flat earther. He's probably he's a glober, but he's like he used to design video games back in the day, so he does like 3D modeling. He's amazing 3D modeling. But he was acting like if he was a flat earther, and
that is pretty funny.
Cat was moderating. It was hilarious.
Well, it's so funny because it sounds like something a flat earther would come up with as far as like, again, he's come up with these squeeze-ons. But physicists have some weird names and particles. That is true. But his theory makes no sense at all. He hasn't refuted Einstein. He hasn't even demonstrated anything
in the field.
Yeah. Well, I mean, this is the guy that, okay, I literally asked him a question relating to something, gravity, and he literally just cut and pasted what he found on Google. And I'm like, dude, this doesn't show me you have any understanding. If you have to cut and paste what you literally found off Google, that doesn't tell me you know how to answer the question. If you tell me you have an understanding of something, and I'm like, okay, what do you mean in your own words of this, and you don't cut and paste something, I'm going to think you're probably full of crap. Because I can't explain tensor equations at all.
Oh no,
they're way out of my
no idea.
Yeah, I mean, but if I ask you what a differential is, I'm going to be able to tell you. And so I asked him, what's the difference between differentiation and integration? Because he supposedly has a degree in civil engineering, and instead of just explaining what they are in his own words, like any of us would be able to do, he copies and pastes something, and doesn't even attribute it. And it's just like, oh come on, man, he doesn't know anything about math, and he says he does. But Jeranism did the same thing. Remember during the debate Jeranism, he didn't even understand pi.
Yeah. Also remember that 10 to negative 17 is apparently a negative number.
Negative number.
Yeah, that's actually one of my more favorite ones too. That somehow 10 to the negative 17 is now a negative number, even though it's positive. It's just
not. Even though it's not a negative.
Very small number.
Yeah,
it's very small. So, but I just have to also point this out one more time that Charlie, you're still in the live chat and you're still not here. Wonder why that is.
Let's play Poe or not Poe. So Renee Calucia, whatever, for $2. Thank you for the super chat. Says you think you're on a spinning ball cause indoctrination. So if you can show us the ball's not spinning, here we are. Come on in, Renee. Hey,
let me guess where you heard that from. Probably some other flat earther told you that.
Or is it a Poe?
Because, you know, indoctrination goes deep if you're a flurf.
But here's the thing: Earth is life. This is the hardest thing for me to figure out, Poe or not Poe. This is difficult for me.
It's very difficult.
I don't have good PODAR.
No, I don't think most of them like normal ones that are in chat. No, they're not Poes. They're most of them are.
These aren't okay.
know,
So you think Renee actually believes that nonsense?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
And again, I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm not. My PODAR is bad, and I admit this. I you know what it is? I have a want to believe that humanity is not that dumb. It's just a matter of if I get to the point where I think that these people actually believe what they're spewing, I lose hope for humanity, and I don't like that. I don't want to get depressed over that. You can understand that, right? It makes sense. I just don't want to be depressed.
Yeah. Exactly. I mean, it's like the American education system
has failed them,
failing us
right?
Now.
Right, and my daughter is a product of that, and I don't want. And she thinks flat Earth is absolutely stupid.
Yeah.
So I'm
My
have
sons
hope.
do too.
Yeah, but here, my daughter had told me one of her teachers was a flat earther in her fourth grade or something, and she told me this years later. I'm like, why didn't you ever? Yeah, it's like, why didn't you ever tell me this at the time? It's just like, because I know what you would have done. I'm like, yeah,
oh my goodness.
yeah, I would have.
A teacher?
Yes,
flat Earth? That's dangerous.
One of her teachers apparently was a flat earther, and I'm like, wow, okay, but that's scary.
Yeah, it is.
How do you have a position of empowerment where you're teaching today's youth and you accept something so fundamentally, demonstrably wrong? I'm sorry. I think you should lose your teaching credentials at that point.
Exactly. Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah, I mean that's just not a matter of political belief or whatever. You're denying reality at that point.
Yeah, you're denying absolute facts.
Right? Can you imagine a math teacher saying, well, 1 + 1 doesn't really equal 2. I can make it. It can be anything you want. No, that's not a math teacher.
Yeah.
That's just. Yeah.
And then have kids going on believing that as well. I mean, that's the worst. The worst thing is having like a teenager believe that everyone is lying to them about the shape of the Earth or science or physics. That's definitely not a position that a teenager wants to be in.
I agree.
Trying to go through life thinking that everyone is lying to them. They're probably not going to make it too far.
Yeah, and by the way, they're in full troll mode now because what does it always go back to? Fiduciary and vaccines and stuff like that. I don't understand the mentality that why they want to relate everything back to that. Before it used to be NASA. Every evil in the world was because of NASA. Now it's because of fiduciary and vaccinations. And the mentality you must have to conflate those things together to where you think that they're related.
You say fiduciary. You mean Fauci?
Fauci. Fiduciary.
Okay, just want to make sure that that I wasn't having a fucking stroke.
No, that's me. That's me, Fauci.
Yeah, no.
Fiduciary.
Like I said, Band Notice brought that up as evidence of something. I don't fucking know.
Yeah.
It's always been. It goes back to. Oh, vaccines or masks or Fauci. Like, I don't give
everything goes back to that.
Fuck about Fauci. We're talking about the shape of the fucking Earth.
Yeah, but how did the shape of the Earth get to that? That's the point with Fauci. It's like they related it to NASA. Now it's Fauci. Stuart for $20 says centripetal acceleration during the Earth's rotation is about 3.3 centimeters per second squared at the equator, well within 9.9 meters per second squared. Yeah. Due to the gravity. I think this is what you were talking about earlier, how minuscule it is, which explains why you don't fly off the planet. Remember, it rotates once every 24 hours. Yes, Stuart, thank you.
Exactly.
This is the math that Rez was doing earlier to show that the amount of force of 3.39 centimeters is insignificant when you're talking about 9.8 meters per second.
We were when we did the math and showed it was like a difference. Like if you were to weigh yourself at the equator versus at the poles, it would be a difference of 0.3%.
Yeah, so the average scale is not even going to be able to measure that. You'd have to have electronic scale that can measure that.
Like I said, and I'm sorry I'm using a technical term here, but it's fuck all. It's fuck all.
You and your technicalities, man. He just wants to sound smart. That's all.
The difference is fuck all.
Yeah, but
they don't understand that in 1 hour the Earth is only rotated 15 degrees. It's not that far.
But the funniest thing is you can actually measure it if you have sensitive enough equipment showing the Earth is round.
Exactly. There's a facility I think it's in Germany. It's called Rami. They literally directly measuring the rotation of the Earth. It's an underground facility. It's like I guess it's an underground interferometer. Mm-hmm. and it's called Rami.
I haven't heard of that. Where's that at?
I think it's. Let me see. I think I'm
look
gonna
that up.
post it
That's
in the
news to
side
me.
chat real quick, and I'll share it with you.
So, anyways, the flat earthers are scared of you as well as they should be, but they're not going to come in, unfortunately, Reds. I'm sorry. You're not going to be shitting your brains out in any recent or any near future time. Sorry.
Well, damn. I was really looking forward to that fillet of fish.
I was really forward to you like being miserable for a couple days. I don't know why. I'm sorry.
It would. I mean, the shit would be streaming out of my ass so fast I would levitate off
Like,
the
hey,
bowl.
how you feeling today?
Exactly. It would be.
Not
it would be.
one of them.
It would be awful.
Not one of them is willing to take you up on this. This is scary.
See? This is why I had to give up so much ground just to have any flat earther to debate me.
Yeah, no.
Apparently, I'm that fucking scary.
No, I get it. I had to go on a theist channel to promote my stuff because the atheists are scared to death of my paper. So I get it. Most of the atheist community, they won't talk about anything I talk about because they're like, we don't talk about Steve's work, his papers and things of that nature. Because when I go on a theist channel, like, oh, this is great, we love this. You're exactly right on this. But the atheist community is like, yeah, we don't want to talk about that. Well, why not? Because my paper's been vetted multiple times now. So
it's to the point where you have to lower your standards even lower than they have been. And like I said, I understand that the bar is so low that it's underground at this point, but we've been digging and digging and digging, and right now it seems, and I hope I'm wrong on this, but it seems that the only way to get a flat earther to actually agree to debate is to have another flat earther as a moderator and to have it be on a Twitter space.
I don't mind I don't mind the flat earther moderator, but the Twitter space,
I know
it's giving up too much ground.
I tell them, I go, listen, Steve McRae is more than happy to give you the authority on the NonSequitur Show. He'll be in the background. He'll be, an audience member just like the rest of them. And the benefit is that you'll still have the option of joining on your shitty cell phone. You'll still have the option, or you'll still have the benefit of having a flat earther as a moderator. But the platform and the quality would be so much better.
I would do that. For you, I would do that. Absolutely.
Yeah, so a flat earther is a mod. You still get to show up on your shitty cell phone, and the quality is amazing. It's just like a Twitter space, only not dog shit.
Yeah, I mean, people can actually hear you better. You get some video, you get some chat. It's a lot more interactive.
Exactly. So...
And you can show evidence in real time.
Yeah, but unfortunately, everything has to be on Twitter space nowadays because, in my opinion, flat earthers love a platform where the glober is unable to show evidence in real time without jumping through a lot of hoops, and no debate is going to happen unless it's on a platform where the evidence that is presented, even after they jump all through those hoops, is not easily ignored. So basically, they have to have it easily ignore a bull in order for them to even consider the platform. And since Twitter Space gives you the option to easily ignore all the shit that's being presented to you, what more could they ask for?
Right.
I agree. April, who's been a member for a month now. Thank you, April. She's been a member for 1 month on the NonSequitur Show. She says, God, oh my me, I really messed up when I made flirps. Too bad. I promised to stop flooding the earth because, wow. You know what? God may be able to go back on his word on that. He already flooded the earth once. Maybe he'll be like, yeah, you know what? Just flood it again. Just, you know what? I've had enough. I'm done. Again, the two groups of flat earthers that are out there, the ones that do it from religious reasons, the religiosity, the Bible, I kind of get where they're coming from. If they really think the Bible is inerrant, I think they're delusional, but whatever. And I don't think they're delusional because they believe in God. I believe they're delusional because they're seriously looking at the reality of the world completely different from the people that actually have gone out and shown what they believe to be false. It's not a matter of just belief in God. It is that belief has been shown to be false. At that point, you can actually call it a delusion. I'm okay with that. And the other ones are just, the more, what do you want to call the ones that are not doing it for religious reasons? They just, for some reason, think the earth is flat because either one, conspiratorial reasons, or two, because what data do they really have? Unless they're just ignoring that.
To me, I think it's more of they just want to go against the establishment.
Could be.
Distrusting government.
That's conspiratorial, right?
Distrusting, pretty much, and distrusting authority.
But also to feel special.
Oh,
to feel like I know something you don't know. To be in. Even imagine deluding yourself to such an extent that you believe that you have special knowledge, that you have blown the lid off of a worldwide conspiracy that has been going on for decades, all the way back, starting from the moon landings in the 60s to the modern space program as we see it today, that you have blown the lid off this whole thing. And no one else is seeing it other than little old you. Basically, it's a version of it's an authority complex. They want to be the authority on the subject. They want to feel special in this subject because it feels good to be in that position to them.
Yeah, and they've put in no work to actually get an education in any of these fields. I have still yet to find a flat earther that has what I consider to be a basic education in physics and math. The basic. But
their genius. But the genius is knowing that the education system is rigged against the truth. That's how they're able to ride their high horse for so fucking long, because they figured out that education is rigged, the government is rigged, science itself is rigged, and they are smart enough to see all of it. They're smart enough to see the deception. And if only you were as smart as they are, you would be able to see the deception too. Like I said, they love riding their high horse, and they do not want to get the fuck off.
No, I think you're right. Yeah. But that's a good place to kind of wrap it up, I guess. Because like I said, they're not going to come in.
I agree. So it looks like I'm not eating that fish. Thank fuck.
No. Hey, I'm going to work on this. What's that person's name? Witzik? You said Witzik? What is it?
Witzik gets it. He's in Discord right now.
Earth is Life. Work with me on it. You got my email is in the about, so just go message me or whatever, or find me on DM, whatever, how you want to get a hold of me. Work with me on it, and if we can get him to do this with Reds, the four of us can do it together. We can set it up on this channel, and then go and do it on Red's channel, or however you want to work it. I'll go on Red's channel and I'll just sit in the background, or do however we want to work it. I don't care. Let's make this happen.
I'll see if I can message him on Discord if he wants to have a discussion with Reds. We'll see how that goes.
Yeah, we'll see how that goes. Keep me updated.
Yeah, I'll see if I can.
Fish for flurfing. Flurfing for fish, or whatever you want to call it.
I think he's scared of you, Reds. I think he's kind of scared of you. There's certain people he won't debate. He said he'll debate.
I'm pretty sure he's scared of me too, but
All right, well, let's wrap it up.
Maybe I'll mention that to him. I think you're scared to debate Reds, and then he'll grow some balls or something.
Yeah, what scares it? Reds is really scared to debate you, man. He does not want this to happen. He's more scared of the fish.
Yeah. Don't tell him that.
All right, let's wrap it up, guys. Thanks a lot for watching the Non-Sequitur Show on this state of the shape debate. I think we've all kind of come to the conclusion again that flat Earth is waning. There are some still players out there, but of no consequence. I mean, I don't even know some of the newer players. The older ones are doing the same grift they've done for 7 years. They have nothing new. So as far as I'm concerned, flat Earther's dead. But there's occasionally somebody pops up, and if we can get them with Reds on his channel or on this channel, wherever they want, I don't care. Make it happen. Earth is Life, pleasure to talk to you. Like I said, I haven't seen you around, but I hope to see a lot more. And if you want to plug your stuff, do it. Have people go sub to you.
I posted my channel in the side chat. Yeah, I'm channel the same name, Earth is Life. I debunk flat Earth. It's been fun.
Oh,
And
awesome.
Reds, I'm definitely. I've been a fan of you for a long time. You're probably one of the people, the reason why I got into this. So anytime you have a debate or anything, I'm there. So
I love when people. I love that. I mean, Reds, you made a difference in somebody's life.
the rocket launches, man. The rocket launches is killing them.
You know,
I thank you for having such poor standards. Thank you so much.
I'm so glad. I'm so glad myself that I have low standards for the show to have Reds on again. But in all honesty, I don't think anybody on YouTube has the quality of rocket launches that this man has. I mean, it is beyond. The news uses this stuff. It's better than actual SpaceX, and now they use his stuff. I mean, there's no one better. So there you go.
Yeah. So guys, thank you. I do appreciate it. And if any flat earther wants to go ahead and set up that debate, get in contact with me. You can do that in three different ways. One, you can reach out to me on the Twitters. Two, you can just leave a fucking comment on one of my videos. I don't care which. I'll see the bitch. And three, you can get in contact with Steve. You can get in contact with Earth is Live. You can get in contact with anyone in the live chat.
If somebody says, I couldn't contact you guys, you're lying.
Can you please pass on a message? And believe me, they will get that shit to me. They have ways.
Yeah, I don't want to hear anybody say, "Oh, I wasn't able to reach anybody." Oh, come on, man! I'm like one of the most easiest people to reach. All right. I'm gonna leave the StreamYards and wrap it up. Again, Reds, thank you very much for joining us today. Earth is Life, thank you very much. Like I said, I'm gonna check out your channel. I'm gonna see some of your conversations, and let's have you back on. Sound good?
All right, appreciate it. Yeah, no problem.
All right, guys. Good night. I'm gonna leave the StreamYards. Wrap that up. All right. Anyways, that was great. Again, we're going to be doing about maybe once a month, maybe once every 2 months, these kind of updates because, the show started with the Flat Earth discussions coming on and they were comical. They were fun. I still wouldn't mind doing them, but I'm only going to have a discussion or have Reds have a discussion with a Flat Earther that actually is a Flat Earther. So if you know somebody who actually is, then have them get in touch with us. If they're just, you think, poing and just sort of fruit in the ground, I only want to waste my time. But, if Reds wants to eat fish for it, I'm not going to stop him. But let me know in the video comment section. Reach out to me. Reach out to Reds. Reach out to Earth. What was it? His name Earth. What was his name? I'm so sorry. I started a second ago. But any one of us could get a hold of Reds and make this happen. Okay. So I really want to thank my moderators and Siggy for donating those members subscriptions. I appreciate it. If you want to become a member of the channel, you can too. Just hit join and join us whenever you want. All right, I'm going to wrap it up, guys. I got to get to sleep tonight. I got an early day tomorrow. I will be streaming tomorrow afternoon probably, but it will be my main channel. So go find me over there on Steve McRae, and we'll see you later on the NonSequitur Show. Good night.